What do we know so far about this here bad boy? Not much. The guy, when I bought it, he seemed straightforward enough. It had a clean title. I've already got the title in my name, so there's been no issues there. So that was straightforward. He told me he was driving it around one day. I think he said he went through a puddle and then it shut off or started sputtering and eventually died, and then it never started again. And he told me it's got no spark. He thought crankshaft position sensor, but he didn't know. He didn't want to deal with it anymore, so he was selling it for pretty cheap. I picked it up and thought, cool, that should be easy, right? No spark. I've done that before. You guys have probably, well, you probably haven't seen the videos, but they are up on my channel on no spark diagnosis. So I figured I'd just jump right into this one. I wasn't gonna make a video. I looked at a couple things. I did have a spare crankshaft position sensor laying around because this is a 1992. I have two 91 Cherokees and I've had plenty. I just have spare parts. So I tossed it on there because the transfer case was a little bit dropped with washers, so it was very easy to do. That didn't do anything. I was just being lazy. I didn't even test that one yet. I just figured, sure, why not? Those bolts one of them was finger tight and they were both kind of a little stripped, so I think somebody was messing with it, probably that guy, and wasn't having any luck getting up there, so just gave up on it and sold it. Because I also noticed there's a new ignition coil in there. It looks like the Amazon cheap special, but the ignition coil's been replaced. The plugs and wires, those look old. There's actually a piece of the plug chewed off from a rat, but I'm still getting no spark with the new crankshaft position sensor. I'm not getting any spark from coming out of the coil. So I went to my parts Jeep, grabbed another coil that I knew was good. It was a factory one. I just plopped it in there. Still no spark coming out of it upon cranking. I checked at the harness before I did that, going into the ignition coil, and I had 12 volts going to the harness, or going from the harness to the ignition coil in the run position and during the cranking position. I think it drops a little bit during cranking because the starter drawing a bunch of power, but it was still, for the most part, 11, 12 volts there. We should have. I was thinking we were gonna get a crank, and that's what it was on another Jeep that I had done. So I just swapped in the coil, but still no luck. So we're gonna have to do some more diagnostics. I did check the 5-volt circuit briefly at the TPS, and I do have 5 volts going to the TPS at 2 of the pins. So it got a little bit more interesting, and that's why I decided to make this video. At this point, I still have no idea what's going on with it. I know I've got fuel pressure. I didn't check it with a gauge at the rail, but I touched the Schrader and fuel came squirting out of there. And I did shoot some ether down the throat of the throttle body while cranking it, and still nothing. So I don't think it's a fuel issue. And I know that I don't have spark because I've tested it with an inline spark tester. So my next thoughts, the first thing I want to check out is really the camshaft position sensor. But on top of that, I had one of these Chilton's Haynes manuals, not Chilton, this is the Haynes manual, came with the Jeep I bought a while ago. So I got the page dog-eared for a lot of these sensors: throttle position, idle air, the mass airflow sensor. I'm gonna test a lot of these sensors just to check them out. But the first one that I'm interested in is really the camshaft position sensor. I'm just a little curious to see, because I've got the right stuff, and then maybe I'll check the computer and see what's going on there. But I've got power going to the coil. It's just not getting any spark, so I'm thinking maybe something at the distributor side is not telling it to spark. The other thing that I want to do is, I've had the battery disconnected. This is a 92. I can pull engine codes off of it, so I think I want to try to do that once I hook this up and maybe crank on it for a bit, just to see what's going on. But you can see there's my inline spark tester. There's the new Amazon special ignition coil right there, all hooked up. I put in a new crankshaft position sensor. There was a broken vacuum line, so I just disconnected that. So there's the computer we might be messing with. The first thing we're gonna do, and I'll walk you through all these diagnostics, but basically I want to check the camshaft position sensor because I'm a little suspicious. Oh, I checked the auto shutdown relay a bit. I swapped that with one of the ones next to it as well. That didn't do anything. So And the fact that I'm getting power over here, I kind of think, I'm not too sure. But there's also a zip tie on the mass airflow sensor holding it up. So something in there might be messed up wiring wise. But the first test I'm gonna do is the camshaft position sensor. It's that guy beneath your distributor. So I'll walk you through that and let's see what happens. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this, but the first thing I'm gonna do is try to run some codes. Now to do that, I'm hoping this will work because I've just reconnected the battery and I just tried to start it once, that's it. So it really doesn't have a whole lot to work with here. But what I'm gonna do is, to pull the codes, you're just turning the key to the on position 3 times, and on the 3rd time you're gonna leave it there, and then you're gonna count the times that your check engine light flashes. So it's gonna flash, you know, it'll say check engine, and then it'll go check engine, check engine, check engine, and that's 13. There'll be one number, and it could be 2 flashes, which would be a 2, and then a pause, and then another set of numbers, and that's your second number. It's 2-digit codes, so let's see what happens here. Hopefully you guys can see that. I can't see on the camera, but so that was 12. That looks like 3. Uh, 51, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1, 2. That one was 55, which I think is the end of the circle. Okay, I think that was 12, 54, and 55. I'm gonna try it one more time because I wasn't really paying a ton of attention. But hopefully you saw that. Maybe I'll try another angle. Should be a better angle, and I hope that my hand stays steady because I'm just gonna hold you here while I do this again. So, get my pen ready, and I'll retry. Pay more attention this time. So now we'll start it. We're gonna count. 1, 1, 2, so that's 12. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe 45. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Well, I lost track again. So I'm gonna have to do this and put the camera down and pay a lot more attention. But you're getting the gist of it, I think. Definitely 12 on the first one, and then I'll have to recount the rest. Okay, so I ran it again. The first numbers I collected are what I saw the last time. 12, 54, and 55. 55 I'm 90% sure is just the end of the sequence. It's not a code. 54 doesn't sound right either. I'm going into the Haynes manual. Page 16, 6-17 is what I've dog-eared for the 91 through 95 codes, or 91 through 97 it says, but you can look these up all online too. You don't need a book for this. 12 is just battery disconnected. I mean, battery voltage PCM disconnected within the last 50 key on cycles. That makes sense. So for that one, battery disconnected, battery voltage of the PCM disconnected within the last 50 key on cycles. I've disconnected this battery a lot, so it doesn't really tell us much. The next one was 54, which is distributor sync pickup. And it says replace the sync sensor in the distributor. That's what it says in the book. I am assuming the distributor sync pickup, the sync sensor in the distributor would be the camshaft sensor, which is what I was thinking. And I swear I'm doing this all real time. I just told you what testing I had done prior to this, which we had power going to the ignition coil, but we weren't getting anything out of the ignition coil because I don't think the distributor was telling it to pick it up. And then 55 is end of code output, which is trouble code sequence complete. So we got 54 distributor sync pickup. I'm just gonna, the probable cause has replaced sync sensor in distributor. I'm gonna go hit Google and just make sure distributor sync sensor, see if that's actually a camshaft sensor or if that's something else. And I do have a parts Jeep, a 94 in the front yard, which I'm sure will cross. So I'll go pull that if that's the case and swap it in. But let me do some research and I'll check back in with y'all. Okay, so the first step to test the camshaft position sensor, and there's a couple different steps to it. It's not just one test. Make sure your battery's hooked up, make sure you have full 12 volts, and make sure terminals are clean. And then the first step in the process says to remove the distributor cap, rotate the engine over by hand, and make sure the rotor on the distributor, the little arm inside of there with the metal contact point, make sure that it moves with the engine. If it doesn't, then you really may have a problem with your camshaft or your distributor or the gear or something. I don't think that's the case. I'm not gonna do that. I just don't feel like rotating over by hand. The first test I'm gonna skip to is I'm just gonna assume that it is moving and rotating over. And the first test that you're supposed to do is a resistance test on ohms. So it's basically the internet. This one's not in the Haynes manual, I don't think. I'll double check, but the internet says you're supposed to back probe the connector for your camshaft, which is right down here. It's this guy. There's 3 wires to it, and it says to back probe the middle one going to it from the harness side with 1 lead of your multimeter, and then touch the negative side of your battery with the other, and make sure you've got less than 5 ohms of resistance. So I think that's what I'm going to do first. Multimeter, this is just the one that I'm using. So we're probably gonna go down to the probably 200 ohms of resistance. And we will test from there. So let me get the probe, get a pin, and start back probing it, and I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a test to show you how to measure ohms. You can see that, 0, open, whatever. If we touch the 2 leads together, it looks like there's 0.5 ohms, 0.4 ohms of resistance in between these little leads. Something good to know. You can knock 0.5 off of whatever you're measuring, but then if I touch the top of the negative to somewhere in the wire on the negative, we've got about down to 0.4 ohms of resistance. If I go to the ground over on the firewall and kind of scrape around a bit until I get a reading, I've got about 0.5 ohms of resistance, and that's from the top of the battery to the firewall ground, about 6 inches over from it. So there really shouldn't be much resistance in between that. But the first test we're gonna do is on the on our camshaft position sensor, and all right, I'm just gonna have to pick you up and get this flashlight now. Okay, I was seeing some, I was looking at the wiring harness back here, and it looks like it's actually just crusted off something or other. I thought it was a break or maybe a melted point in the wiring harness, which might be our issue, but it usually runs behind your distributor. I just unplugged it from the sensor and moved the plug to the front and replugged it back in, so it would be easier to show you guys and get to when I'm trying to test it. But you're supposed to focus the camera, and then you're supposed to grab the middle wire. It's like a dark one. It looks black or dark blue, which would make sense. It's probably your ground. Back probe that guy in there. And you could well, no. Yeah, you probably want to leave this connected, but basically back probe that, and I'm going to do it with a safety pin. I'll show you that so I don't have to shove these things in here or pry up this little plastic cover. 1 lead of your multimeter to here, the middle terminal, and then 1 to your negative post on your battery, and I believe it is 5 volts less than 5 ohms. Yeah, less than 5 ohms of resistance in between there and there. That's the first test. I'm gonna test it and then I'll show you guys. Okay, we are back probed, and I had to get one of these little alligator clips. I used a safety pin. You can see that metal thing. I stuck that down in there next to the inside terminal so that I didn't have to pull up any of the sheathing. And then I alligator clipped it to my negative side of the black terminal on the multimeter. And then I got the power over here, and I just got my little scratched off spot. And then we've got about 0.5 ohms, 0.4 ohms of resistance. So really that passes the first test. So we're gonna go ahead and continue the rest of the tests for this cam sensor. One thing that I wanna mention, I just didn't read it. Basically that test I just did about the ohms resistance, if you had more than 0.5, the recommendation is to replace or repair the wiring harness. So that would mean we could have like a burnt line somewhere in the harness, anywhere up in there. Somewhere in your harness there would have been resistance for that sensor. So I'm glad that wasn't it. That wasn't necessarily testing the sensor, that was just testing the wiring for the sensor. So that passed, and now I'm gonna move on. Okay, the next test is also for the wiring. You're gonna leave your back probe in the middle terminal, and then you're gonna back probe one at a time, but one of the outside terminals, and then you're measuring for voltage across the two. So, and you want at least 5. You're gonna have to take my word for it. I've got 4.9 in that ballpark, depending on how I wiggle these things, but I got them all set up wonky. So basically you're testing for voltage, now it's DC voltage, and I'm at 20 volts or 20, I'm on the 20 mark for DC voltage, and we're roughly around 5 sitting here. Now this is with the ignition on. You can see for me it was the yellow wire and the middle wire. Those two got me 5 volts. The other one, it's alternating, but let's see, I don't really want to touch them together. But yeah, see if I move this around, I can get consistently 5. My little safety pins aren't in there enough. So I think that means we're good on the wiring harness. We're gonna continue testing. Ignition was on for this one, and we're measuring DC volts. Now this last test is gonna be a little bit tricky with this multimeter. I think you really need like a better scan tool that's gonna show you the average, but this one's gonna be what's testing your camshaft position sensor. Now for that, you want to make sure you got your cap and rotor and everything reinstalled, basically like you're trying to start the car. And then what you're going to do, set your multimeter to DC voltage again. I'm going to go 20 volts DC. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to have to go to 20 volts DC because we want to see between 0 and 5. And then what you're going to back probe is the middle terminal and the terminal that did not have any voltage going to it in the on position. So basically, for me, it's the middle terminal, and then it is the orange terminal on the right. And I've got my multimeter all clipped up. I don't want them to touch, so I'm probably gonna stick a piece of rubber in between those guys. But then you're gonna have somebody crank over the car, and you wanna be watching here on your multimeter. And this is where I don't think this is gonna work the best, because you wanna see an alternating between 0 volts and then 5 volts, I believe. So an average of 2.5 volts across over the course of the cranking. So there are different scan tools that'll show you. You can run like an average and it'll show you a graph with like 0 to 5, 0 to 5, and your average should be 2.5. But that's what you should be getting across those two pins when you crank it over. Now, I have not pulled the cap yet, so I haven't verified that the rotor's okay or the points are good. So once I see what this test does, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the cap and take a look at everything in there. But that's the test, and we'll run it right now and see what we can see. All right, I got a piece of paper in there separating them. Let's see what we see. I'm gonna try to hold the thing and keep an eye on stuff. Okay, go ahead and crank the car over. Stop. All right, so that showed 8 volts, and now we're dropping back down to 0. Are you back in the just ignition position? Yeah, we're back down to 0. Okay, so go ahead and try to start it again. Stop. So that was 8.8. And I think it's supposed to alternate between 0 and 5 from what the internet tells me. I don't know how accurate this meter is, but I really didn't see it drop at all. It was 8.8 the entire time, and it was 0 and then 8.8. So why don't you go ahead and crank it one more time? Stop. Yeah, so the only thing it's reading is 8.89, and then it goes to 0. So that's definitely not oscillating between 0 and 5 for an average of 2.5. So I'm gonna say that's out of spec for the sensor. The next thing I'm gonna do is pull the cap and just make sure all the points and the rotor is spinning and everything like that before I actually swap the sensor. So, all right, to do that, it's pretty straightforward. There's 2 screws on either side of your distributor cap. I'm just gonna pop that guy up and scoot it off to the side. I'm not gonna disconnect any plug. We have the cap off. Just pulling it out of the way. That rotor needs to come off. You just lift it straight up and pop it off. It is keyed, so you don't need to worry about which way it goes on. When you've got this up here, now's a good time to sand off the points, the little contacts inside of your distributor cap that are on the bottom side of each of these pins for the wires. So pop off that distributor, and then the camshaft should really just, the camshaft sensor should just pop right up, and then you can unclip it. So I'll do that now off of camera. Now your camshaft position sensor is going to be different on models, but since we've got a 92, it's going to be a bit more difficult for me. Cap out of the way. I actually pulled the rotor off. It's sitting right there. It is keyed, so you can't, well, it's harder to mess that one up. I had to pull 2 8mm bolts out of the top of that guy that was holding in this guy over here, and this does set your key for your rotor. So, you know, it's got a half cone thing on the back. Just make sure you put it in kind of the same way that it came out, and then it should set you up right for your rotor alignment piece to go in one of those holes. And then now it's still stuck underneath this plate. I think I've got to pull out this whole gear, but that is getting stuck, and there's a little tiny bolt down there, probably a 1/4. I think then I'll be able to just lift this guy out. So I'm gonna try that, but let me get you a better angle. I might have to pull the whole distributor out, which would suck, but in that case, I would be marking it with a Sharpie. So it's right down there. It's by the tip of my finger. It's that little bolt that I think is holding in this whole shaft for the distributor, or the piece that's holding in the camshaft. So I'm gonna take that out, see what happens. So I found a schematic online. Basically, it sucks on the 92. Certain models, you can't really get to it easily without pulling the distributor. And to be perfectly honest, you have to pull the distributor, and then you've got to take the gear off the bottom of the distributor to pull off this pulse ring, this shaft, to even slide it out and replace it. So, I mean, like I said, I've got a whole parts Jeep in the front yard. I am thinking that I'm just gonna pull the entire distributor from the parts Jeep and drop it in, assuming the 94 is the same as the 92, which I believe it would be. But I can tell this is the problem. When I got the cap out of my way and started getting in here, I noticed that the magnetic piece on this camshaft sensor, the little metal contact piece, it's in pieces. It's not attached anymore to anything. It's right over there, and half of it fell down. I could take this other half and slide it out probably. Yeah, there it kind of goes. There's the rest of it, and it's just looking a little worse for wear. The other piece of it's in there that I'll go fish out and take a look at these on the bench. So I don't think I'm getting to this without pulling the distributor. Those are the pieces that came out. So to do that, before I do it, I want to make sure I don't have to really retime this thing a ton. I'll make sure the firing order on the cap is the same as the one I'm pulling out of my parts Jeep. But then basically, you've got a set screw. It's going to be a bolt right down there, probably 15 or 9/16. You can barely see the edge of it peeking out. That's what holds your distributor down and in place. So for this, I'll disconnect the battery. Could have done this a while ago, but whatever. For that, I'll mark it before. I'll put a line with some white paint or some Sharpie down there, just telling me exactly which position my distributor is clocked in before I go ahead and try to pull this out and put the new one in. So, bummer. If you got a different model, your camshaft would be a lot easier to replace. On this one, you have to pull the distributor, I guess. Now, here is the distributor from the parts Jeep. It's a 94. I'm pretty sure it's gonna cross. Everything looks the same. Yeah, you can basically see this whole shaft, the keyed shaft, it has to come out. You have to remove this gear. It looks like there's a little punch, like you've got to knock out this little set, I forget what they're called, roll pin. And then you'd have to drop the gear off, and then you could take apart the whole distributor, explode it, and then get your camshaft out. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I guess you could do that. I don't know what a new one costs, but for me, it's just, I got the parts Jeep. If you're in an area with a junkyard, probably just go get one. From what I understand online, people are saying this is the Renix one, but I pulled this out of my 94. My 92 has it, so early high outputs all have this as well. Probably Renix crosses over, so anything 87 to 94, 95, maybe 96 would even work. I marked all of my cap pins before I took it out of the parts Jeep, because I'm gonna end up probably taking this cap off, to be honest, and just running it all to that cap. No reason to really reuse this cap, in my opinion. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But that way I at least can verify. I know which, I mean, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Those are the spark plugs. So if I write it down on the cap, I know which plug wire needs to go to which pin. Now this guy, I took out the set screw. You can see it, it's gone down there. I cleaned off the back side. I'll try to show you right down by the tip of my finger is where I'm gonna mark it, so that when I pull this distributor out, I've got a mark on this distributor and a mark on the engine block, so then I can lay this thing on the ground next to this one, take the cap off, set up the rotor the exact same way, and then mark this distributor, and then I can basically grab this distributor, drop it right back in, line it up with my mark on here. That way I don't have to retime the engine once I try to start this thing. So I know my cap and rotor are chilling right there. I'm gonna mark this, and then you lift it straight up. So mark it before you pull it so you don't have to retime the engine. That'll save you a lot of headache. So we got them both out. There are some differences. I pulled the cap off of my donor one, and it's a lot different, to be honest. The cap height definitely seems different. So I don't think I can just swap the caps, but, well, no, actually the cap height probably seems about the same. The camshaft sensor on this Rennet, or on the high output, the 94 parts Jeep, that actually does seem like one of the easier ones online, where I could just lift it off right now and swap it. So maybe the internet was correct and this is a Renix distributor. Maybe somebody threw a Renix distributor in this thing at some point. Maybe the guy messing with it did that and this is wrong and recently put in there. I don't know. I'm hoping that the connectors sure did look the same. I'm hoping that it'll just plug in, but I'm gonna try it. So now you can see I made a little red mark with a Sharpie here, and there's one on the engine. So basically what I'm gonna do is, this is the one that just came out. I'm gonna go ahead and rotate my rotor around, and that's gonna adjust the pin at the bottom to about the exact same ballpark location as when this came out. I'll sand up some connections at the top of the cap. Probably won't do that yet. I'll do it once I drop it in. But basically I want to get these guys lined up, this lined up, the tips to look the same. I'll transfer my mark from this one over to that one, just so I can line it up again as best I can. And then I'll probably have to retime it once I get it going, but then we'll drop it in. Distributor's back in. I'm gonna go ahead and kick it over. I think everything's hooked up. So let's see. that's a good sign. I'm fairly certain we have spark now. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to retime it a little bit because things just looked a little funky. It's also got like no gas. So I'm gonna shoot some ether down the throat and try to hit it a bit more. I might have to get a buddy out here to crank it over while I wiggle the distributor. But so far, it sounds like that's a good sign. We got a call. Okay, let's try that again. I hooked up a vacuum line. I had my girlfriend turn it over when I loosened the distributor, and I was rotating and I got it to cough some more. So I cranked it down again, and I had it running a second ago. So let's see if we can get it on camera, but it's barely got any gas. That's perfect. It fired right up without any throttle, and it idles perfectly. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock the distributor down, and I'm gonna call that one pretty much good to go. There's a couple closing comments on this. I'm assuming you can see my face. The distributor that I pulled out of there, I think online said it was a Renix distributor, which would be the earlier Cherokees. The one that I got out of my 94, like I was telling you, the sensor is a lot easier to replace. I don't know if somebody put that distributor in there or if 91 and 92, the earlier high outputs, had the Renix distributors. But in any case, it was shot and the sensor was bad. We tested it. I didn't test this one to verify that it was working. I knew that it was working the last time I drove my parts Jeep, maybe 6 months ago, a year ago. So we're gonna call that a wrap for this video. Now we got the POS started, we've got a title. That's 2 out of 2. We're gonna go ahead and probably lift it, throw the 32s on, do a little overland build. We'll get into the fun stuff for now. All right.